So I've had a lot of suggestions to use the blue Brawler Bond in the past for the dogs, and I finally got around to sort of leveling him up to where I wanted him. And I have given him some some resistance gear on the mid slots. Like, I've been kind of told or led to believe that that is the best option, which I think is. I think that that's working quite well. If you watch the video that I did earlier this week, where I made two rare pieces into SR engraved gear for Bond, just for like this Bond specifically. You've probably already seen me mess around with floor 1, but yeah, I've been using him all throughout the week. Every time I have excess stamina, I have tried to at least attempt to do, the next floor or whatever I'm currently on. And there has been a couple of resets, but overall, I really can't complain about his performance in the slightest. Like, it really is kind of insane how it works. The only problem that I have with it is floor 3 is still like pretty RNG based on whether or not I'm going to be able to get through it. Sometimes, for whatever reason, he'll just still be able to break the shield turn 1, and then it just kind of it becomes increasingly hard. Or like more difficult, I guess, to try and like get his passive to sort of stack up, which ends up becoming a big problem. Plus, there are certain runs where you end up you risk it and you don't have another bond or another king card, or maybe you just haven't been able to pull king cards in general, and your run dies just because you couldn't pull a king card to put a shield on him, and then he uses an AoE, and then all of your stacks fall off, and you basically have to restart at that point. Which is definitely pretty annoying, like, more than anything. It's, it is what it is. Like, honestly, the team works so well. Like, once you actually get his stacks up and everything, it's kind of insane, because you can literally just, I don't know, you can be on the last phase of floor 1 and floor 2 and basically patience every single attack that they throw at you, which is just incredible, really, more than anything, because I mean, the dogs are insanely hard as it is. So I don't know, just being able to do that is pretty nuts. The couple of times that I have reset, I have tried to do, instead of like the first time that I did it, I had him with HP gear, and then I also have an attack set of gear for Bond as well, because I originally made it whenever I thought that Festival Bond was going to be coming out and he was going to be an attack-based unit, but that obviously went south. But I was already sitting on an attack set, so I figured it might be a little bit better to, because he's not going to be taking damage anyway, and, I don't really care how much HP he has. I swapped him over to an attack set at one point. It's pretty decent. I don't think it really makes that much of a difference, if I'm being completely honest. But, sometimes when you get to floor 3 and you're in phase 1, you can, if you use both of Bond's cards on the turn 1 to try and activate Thonar's passive, it can kind of like fail, I guess, a little bit, because, one of the cards might not hit. It might patience instead if you have the HP set on. But it also depends on, how geared up your stuff is, because I was also missing 3 weapon cosmetics for this Bond as well, and I haven't wanted to, spend the diamonds on buying those, and I was really hoping that the part 2 of this, Merlin Festival was going to end up adding like a cosmetic sale or something. We haven't had a cosmetic sale in forever, so I was really holding out hope, but as soon as the patch notes came out and there was no, sale, I went ahead and purchased his extra 3 cosmetics. They were all UR pieces, and I went ahead and upgraded them as well, so I went, the extra mile, I guess, there. And I think that's definitely helped a bit. He doesn't patience on any of his attacks anymore, which is definitely good. It's kind of crazy, because he does more damage with his attacks than Thonar does. Thonar has an ult removal card, which is, you kind of want to use that from time to time, which I have to, there's a little bit of a downside, I guess, to just playing the dogs in general, because the turn after the smaller dog, depending on which turn you're in, ends up putting up the shield, they will end up putting on an attack-related stats lower, which is an insane lower. Like, it's so much. It makes you do so little damage damage. Like you pretty much have to have a king ult in hand the turn after they put up a shield, or else you're just going to be doing so little damage that they might end up breaking the shield on Bond regardless. And you're just not going to be able to do enough damage to like actually, you know, decently get through the phase that you're on. So that is also incredibly annoying. So that sucks. And of course, you know, it's what you've got 2 turns basically, you know, whenever you start a new phase, and then they put up the shield, and then the turn after that. So on turn 4, they're going to put up the attack-related stats debuff, which is just, it's so much to worry about, especially in the very beginning, because the first turn of the entire, you know, floor, you're going to have to worry about getting Thonar's passive off, so that way you get the attack-related stats increase. And then after that, you just need to make sure that you're sort of working on, you know, I guess if you get lucky, you need to make sure that you've got a, you know, stance removal in hand, and if you're not pulling like just a whole bunch of extra king cards that you can sort of merge at your will to get extra ultimate move gauge, I don't know, it's pretty tough to just all of a sudden have, you know, a king ult in hand exactly when you need it. So there's definitely card RNG that has a big factor that plays here, which is also very annoying. And then of course on phases, or on floors 2 and 3, you also have to worry about them being able to freeze you and stuff. I do have the card set, which makes it to where if my ultimate move gauge is full, I can't get frozen, but sometimes, you know, like I said, they put up the attack-related stats debuff. You need to use, you know, King's Cleanse if you want to even be able to do damage, so that way you can survive the turn. And that is just a huge, you know, huge problem, I guess. Like, I don't know, it's pretty annoying. Like, the whole fight overall is just really, really annoying. I did give floor 3, you know, a really good set of tries. I attempted it probably 10 to 15 times this week. Whereas I had previously never even attempted to do floor 3, and I mean, there were some times where I got kind of close. I don't think I ever made it to the last phase, unfortunately, because, well, actually, there might have been 1 or 2 runs where I did make it to the last phase, but for some reason, in floor 3, they really want to focus Thonar for whatever reason, and I never had the Tarmia link on her for whatever reason, and some of my later runs I was trying her out with an attack crit set instead of, you know, just an HP defense set, which is what I normally run on her, and that, I don't know, it still didn't, she still ended up getting patience on some of her attacks, and it just, I don't know, it's a really bizarre, like, time to use Thonar. Like, I don't know, her stats really aren't that bad. She's not like incredibly old or anything, but it's super annoying sometimes. Like, you know, just being able to land the attack should be like a no-brainer. Like, you would think that the character would at least be able to do that sometimes, but I don't know. It's pretty annoying in the slightest, like, or in the least, because just the dogs in general are pretty rough. But I have to say, overall, if you're planning on sort of investing into Blue Brawler Bond, I would definitely recommend it, because, I mean, so far from what we have at the moment, I mean, I can pretty much clear floors 1 and 2 almost no problem. Like, sometimes in, you know, the end of floor 1, if I don't kill them both on the same turn or whatever, I'll just reset and then try to, you know, find a different card combination that I can use instead. And then on floor 2, maybe if you get really destroyed by card RNG or whatever, and you go into the last phase and you don't have, you know, a decent set of cards, so that way you can kill the black dog fast, you know, that can obviously be a big issue, because on floor 2, it's not that you have to kill them both at the same time. You have to kill, if you use 5 attacks on a dog and it's not dead, then it uses or it applies like a resurrection debuff, kind of like Light Liz's passive, which is, or not her passive, her ultimate, which is really annoying, by the way. But I have to say, I mean, the runs have been way more consistent with this team than any other team that I've tried, so I definitely think that it's worth using. Hopefully we'll get a relic for Thonar at some point. Hopefully we'll get a relic for Freyr at some point, and that will hopefully, you know, just make this run even better. Who knows, maybe we'll end up getting another unit that will be a really good replacement for, I don't know, somebody. It would be kind of hard with this team setup. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. You don't necessarily have to have Freyr per se, but I think he's definitely helping out, making sure you don't have ignites and stuff like that on your team. But I don't know. If he got a good holy relic or something that would help out with the dogs, I think that he would be pretty essential to the team in general, which now that I have a couple of extra ultimate move gauge levels on him, or ultimate levels on him, per se, I think that he's definitely helping out a lot more than he used to at 1/6. So that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to talk about, but yeah, I don't know if you want to try out the team or just mess around with Blue Brawler Bond. He's surprisingly very useful. So that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next one.